What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and we're going to be doing the Epic Boss Mini-Series once again. This is going to be part 3, and it's going to cover Chapter 4, Mission 4. Now, Chapter 4, Mission 4 is a great mission for farming command points, and that's because the entire mission, including the Epic Boss, only costs 70 energy. So this is a great mission for farming, especially since it can be unlocked at a pretty low level. Besides the command points, there's another great reward in this mission, and that's the fact that the magnetic field generator does drop off of the Epic Boss. The deploys that are needed really aren't that bad. The only named deploy is Storm. So you're going to need Storm, next you're going to need a Scrapper, and then 2 heroes of any class. After you complete all of the deploys and all of the battles, Magneto the Epic Boss will appear. This Epic Boss is pretty unique because he has a very special shield. This shield has the potential to make Magneto really hard to damage. The trick to his shield is it can either be positive or negative, and when your character has the opposite buff of whatever his shield is, you'll be able to do a lot more damage to him. Otherwise, you'll just barely chip away at his shield. Now, another option is to use someone like Juggernaut who has Shield Breaker. So if you have any characters or weapons that have Shield Breaker, you may want to use them. For this battle, we're going to be using the custom magnetic field generator. Then we're going to be using the Savant Spear. And we're using these 2 items just to basically have shields of our own. Next, we're going to use the Phoenix Pinion, and that's because it ignores most shields. And then lastly, we're going to try something out. We're going to use the Charge Dissipator. This may be a gadget that you have, but you really didn't think there was much use for it. But let me tell you, there are some battles that you can definitely use it in. And this Epic Boss battle is one of those. As you'll see, Magneto's attack are energy based, so it will work against them. As far as our team, we're using Juggernaut and Quicksilver, and that's also kind of a funny poke at Magneto, since these 2 characters can be considered Brotherhood of Evil mutants. And on top of that, Quicksilver is his son, so basically we're using his own allies as well as shields against him. Quicksilver probably won't do that much damage to him, but that's okay. As soon as Juggernaut goes, you'll see the easy way to beat this guy. In fact, Shieldbreaker makes this fight pretty laughable. But you do get to see the effectiveness of his shield when the character shares the same charge. But now on Juggernaut's turn, all of that's over. He's just going to bust right through that shield, and then he won't be able to place another shield on him for a while. And wait till you see what this does to Magneto. Now on our agent's turn, we're going to use the Charge Dissipator. So we'll take reduced damage from energy attacks by 75%. And that's a pretty massive percentage right there. So we're thinking that Magneto's not going to do much damage at all. First you see him try to use his shield, and he doesn't even know what's going on, so he tries again, and then passes, yet he has no shield on him. And this is pretty much what happens when you break his shield and have that debuff on him. On top of him bugging out, your characters can do plenty of damage to him at this point. Then when it comes time for Juggernaut's turn, you could really just go ahead and spam his level 2. But instead we tried a Sunday Punch, and sadly it missed. So now we're going to go ahead and use the Phoenix Pinion, and we'll see what Magneto does on his turns this time. First, he's able to cast his shield, and that's why we should have just kept using the level 2 of Juggernaut. After Magneto attacks, you see Dissipator pop up, so that shows that it would work against him. But I believe I dodged that attack, so I'm not sure how well it works just yet. But the good news is it definitely will work against him. Magneto once again changes his shield, then he's going to do another offensive attack. And you see how little damage it does because I have the Dissipator. So I'd say the gadget works pretty well, and I'm glad I didn't get rid of it. My advice would actually be to keep every weapon and gadget you get, unless you have extras of it, because you'll never know when it'll come in handy. Once again, Quicksilver's doing no damage, and that's because he shares the same charge. Since he has a positron shell, you'll need a negative charge to do damage. Unfortunately, sometimes none of your characters have the opposite charge, and that's why a character like Juggernaut is invaluable. If you can just break or bypass the shield, then you don't have to worry about what charge you have. And it also allows your entire team to do damage to Magneto, rather than just one that usually might have a different charge. And then you're seeing the other benefit, and that's when he goes ahead and tries to cast that shield, but is unable to. So he ends up just skipping his turns. So since we know that Shieldbreaker is the most valuable ability, I'm going to tell you which heroes have it. Iron Man in his MK42 armor, Havoc, Juggernaut, and Shatterstar. And right there we tried to finish Magneto with his sun, but he came just short. So instead we're going to use our favorite named ability. So lower the volume, here comes the impression.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut.
And that's going to be it for this one. Now let's go ahead and look at the boss roulette, and we'll show you which item you can get. And this is a pretty great item. The only problem is it can be removed with the scroll, and of course other buff removal. Now this is the custom version, that's because I run it on challenge mode, but there's really no major difference. So what this item does is it places a shield on your entire team, and then once that shield is broken you gain an extra turn, and that goes for everyone. We already have it, so we're hoping for some command points instead. And we end up gaining 5 command points, which we'll definitely take. So that's going to be the very end of part 3. We will continue this series whenever we have time. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and I really hope it helped. Lastly, I want to thank you all for watching, and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos.